New Day versus Lucha Dragons with PTP on commentary, which was, again, another segment where the guest commentator is the highlight of the segment, because Titus O'Neil took JBL to school and then just kind of spanked him like a schoolboy and taught him a lesson on commentary.
It's like, yeah, do your job, John.
That's literally what he said. You weren't making that up. That wasn't you trying to use a metaphor to teach JBL a lesson. That's literally what Titus O'Neil told him to do.
Yeah, it was great, guys.
Why don't you tell us what's happening in this match now, JBL? Crickets. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Torched. Gotta say, I still love the New Day. Dude, I don't know what it is. And again, maybe I was just in a really weird mood today. Maybe like in a weird kind of good mood, which is a good mood to be in. But Xavier Woods, though, like, just hits every point with me every week. Like, I feel like if the Spirit Squad was still a thing, he'd fit right in, because he's just got so much energy and optimism for his boys. It's awesome to see. It's like, yeah, take it to him. Yeah, what's going on, Kalisto? Yeah, it's just like, oh my God, Xavier, what is going on right now?
I mean, I gotta admit, I'm kind of disappointed that the Lucha Dragons have basically been reduced to jobbers.
Yeah.
Like, they're basically on the same level as Los Matadores right now. They're just the babyface version of Los Matadores, who are, I guess, heels, maybe?
I don't even know what Los Matadores is right now.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too. Like, what is going on with the WWE's tag team division right now? I mean, yeah, sure, PTP is the champions, and New Day have been great, but what else is going on? That's it. It's literally just that feud. There's nothing else happening.
To me, I gotta be honest, and everybody knows I love the New Day gimmick. In fact, I'll go on record, and I've really pondered it. I think the New Day is one of my favorite gimmicks in 2015 right now. I mean, I love these guys consistently when they're on TV. I would like to see them move past the tag titles after Battleground. Maybe even gun for Ryback. You know, I know Ryback will probably still have some business with the
Big E versus Ryback, though.
Big E versus Ryback, and they do the Freebird rule with the Intercontinental. That is, if they can take it. I wouldn't mind one way or the other. But, you know, like, make them move on and make them keep in the back of our minds, like, yeah, whatever they win, they share together. To the victor goes the spoils, and they share all these spoils with each other. I feel like because the tag division is in such disarray, and you had such honest prospects, or such hot prospects, I should say, like, you know, the Ascension coming in and Lucha Dragons, and they've both been really watered down.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing, though, is that if New Day isn't around, PTP would have to move on to who?
Yeah, and that's, I guess, kind of the question. I mean, I guess...
it would almost have to be heel Los Matadores, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you would think. Either that or you actually put time into building the Ascension back up so they could be worthwhile contenders, but...
Yeah, that's a likely freaking thing to happen.
My sentiments exactly.
I mean, I don't know, dude. With the way Titus O'Neil buried JBL in commentary tonight, it might have turned him on the Ascension.
Maybe, but
he might be an Ascension fan now.
But you know what the funny thing is? I say that, but yet I believe it was just at this week's Superstars tapings that the Primetime Players beat the Ascension in a non-title tag match. So,
yeah.
You know, and it's not the first time those two have faced off, but it seems like Primetime Players have the Ascension's number, so you'd have to do a little bit of work to make believe that those guys...
What's a good couple of, like, upper mid-card heels that don't really have anything to do that could team up?
Upper mid-card heels that could team up... Well, but see, no, I can't even say that because Eric Rowan's out with an injury. Otherwise, Harper and Rowan would have immediately gotten that spot.
Well, let's team up Bad News Barrett and Sheamus while Sheamus has Mr. Money. Well, he has the Money in the Bank.
That's a great idea, actually. It actually gives gold at the end of Barrett's, rainbow of kind of amassing a mini win streak.
Yeah.
And Sheamus would love to have more gold to go with Money in the Bank because, I mean, heels, you'd think a natural heel tendency would be greed. So let me get what I can while the getting's good.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
I don't know. I mean, that would almost have to be. That's the crazy thing too. Is it would maybe? Do we think New Day's going to win the titles back?
You know what, dude? I'm going to be honest. I don't want to get too into it here because I know we always like to save good discussion for premium predictions. But I will say that I've put more stock in that possibility simply because of Eric Rowan's injury. Because I feel like if Harper and Rowan were still together and still competing on Raw and just, WWE, then I would have put all my stock, all 100% of it, in Primetime Players retaining. Now with Eric Rowan injured, I will say, not to give...
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Do we know how long Rowan's going to be out for?
It's going to be several months, from what I understand.
Do we know what happened to him?
I think it was a shoulder-based injury.
Oh, man. Well... Yeah, I mean, you almost have to wonder because, like, I feel like PTP doesn't have anyone to feud with. Whereas if New Day would win the titles back, they could feud with Lucha Dragons or PTP, and then again the well runs dry. So really, it comes down to, and that's another thing is New Day beat Lucha Dragons tonight. They could have had the Lucha Dragons go over. New Day wins the titles back, and immediately you've got a feud set up for them. But now that's not even a possibility.
It's the tag match. I will say this: when we get to preview predictions, it's going to be one of the more interesting matches to talk about because even when PTP won the titles, I always had a feeling in the back of my mind they were meant to be transitional champions. The question was, was
Transition
it
to who?
exactly? Was it just going to be in their first defense back to New Day, or first big pay-per-view defense, I should say, to New Day, or was it going to be, maybe just immediately after that? Because then after that, you really can't call them paper champions of this, that, or the other. But I'll put it to you this way: I never really felt like they were meant to stand in the sun for long with these tag titles.
Right.
So I don't know, dude. It's going to be a tough one to call. But I'm glad you broached that question because now with the circumstances with Harper and Rowan, who I felt like were the surefire next contenders out of the picture, the smart thing to keep the tag division from having a relevant pulse may be to make New Day two-time champions, but we'll wait and see.
Man. All right. Well, I guess we can move on, can we?
Yeah.
Up next, we had the WWE 2K16 cover reveal. We now know that it's going to be Steve Austin on the cover. This is actually news that came out earlier today, so it wasn't super new news, but it was new as far as WWE television goes.
Right.
After that, though, John Cena's music hits.
Oh, yes.
I want to say this right now. My notes tonight, I've compressed it so that there are no like extra spaces in between lines or anything like that, and every line is separate. I have 76 lines of notes.
Right.
30 of them are starting from this point on, involving all just John Cena's everything that he did.
Wow.
30 out of 76. Yeah, that's how into, and I mean, I say 30 out of 76, 19 out of 76 are just dedicated to trying to keep up with the Cena-Cesaro match.
Right.
That's how into the match I was. Like, I normally with matches, I only try to write down like the big spots that I want to try and remember. I've got 19 lines on this match because it was that freaking amazing.
This match,
now hang on, before we get to the match itself, yeah.
Right.
Cena comes out, Cole takes us to a recap of Owens Balor from Beast in the East. I wanted to remember to bring this up because Finn Balor got featured on Raw. Like, yeah, like this was awesome. This is how and that's another thing too, this is how you get people to buy the freaking network, because they showed little bits and pieces from Balor Owens, and then they said, you can watch this on the network, it's available to watch.
Right.
Right there, boom, people are sold. Like, you see this crazy, freaky looking guy with all this body paint on going against Kevin Owens, and you find out that he actually beat him for the NXT title. Who is he, first of all, if you've never seen NXT before, which I'm assuming if you don't have the network, you haven't. And second of all, how did he beat Kevin Owens? And right there, that's your hook, line, and sinker. You're getting people to buy the freaking network by that.
Definitely. I loved it. I loved that they gave Finn Balor that little nod, and ultimately, to your point, it does help the network. But yeah, I can tell. I don't know if you're going through your notes but I just want you to continue your side of the discussion. So John Cena comes out, they highlight Beast in the East. Then what did you think of Cena's promo here?
I don't really have that much on it. I just have that he cuts a promo about how he's still the man to beat. That's it. And then I just have Owens interrupting, kind of tore Cena down, and Cena's promos kind of ripped those to shreds too. And then he says, and I love this, he said, I need the U.S. title now that I lost the NXT title.
Now let me ask you a question right out of the gate, Ashton, because this, to me, this point onward is where the discussion really happens, right?
Right, yeah.
Do you feel like Kevin Owens did a good job as a heel tonight? Because you were discussing one possibility that I loved, and we might as well come out because it didn't happen. You thought maybe Owens would come out to CM Punk's music, or he would in some way, shape, or form infer about CM Punk and maybe introduce somebody else, do some kind of really heelish, scummy thing in Chicago. It seemed like Kevin Owens really played it straight in a babyface fashion given the environment he was in.
You know what, dude? I don't want to say... I think that last little qualifier that you said, I agree with. he was playing the babyface to the Chicago crowd, but he was still the heel as far as the television audience goes.
And you know what? I have to give that one to you, but I do have to say, and nothing wrong with what Kevin Owens did tonight. But
I think honestly, dude, I think that WWE knows that Chicago is never going to accept Cena. So in those like Chicago, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, you know, all of like the really smarky cities, they just accept it. They kind of, you know, grin and bear it, and they say, okay, Cena, you're working heel tonight. And whoever they put against him works face. And that's just how it is. And that's how it was tonight, because not only Owens, but also Cesaro worked face tonight. Both of them did. And Cena, I wouldn't necessarily say that his promo was full on heel, but it was definitely a lot more arrogant than usual. He was talking about how he's still the man to beat and that kind of stuff. I would say maybe he was a little bit more aggressive in this match, which WWE does tend to associate with heels. So I think that just in this context, because of the crowd that they were in front of, everybody in this segment switched roles because WWE knows that these kinds of crowds don't like Cena.
And I would really completely concede to you there on all points. I would just like to say that I think that my slight misgivings towards Owens here, in the grand scheme of things, could actually be construed as a compliment, because it just shows you how much I believe in Kevin Owens as a heel and how much I love his heel work. Like, I was looking forward to see how he was going to turn a wrestling crowd like Chicago against him, because I believe Kevin Owens has that ability in him. And I think I was just a little disappointed when we didn't see that. Though, let me just say this again, because I really want to emphasize, nothing wrong with what Kevin Owens said here. And
I feel like if he would have, it would have been fighting a losing battle. Rather than trying to swim upstream or cut against the grain and try and turn Owens into the heel and Cena into the face here, they just went with what they knew the crowd was going to do naturally and just kind of accepted it. And as like a one night only thing, we just had Owens the face, Cena the heel. But Owens, they weren't so much defined as Owens being a face and Cena being a heel that the people watching at home that already have this predisposed, like, Owens is a jerk, Cena's awesome, would have switched. Like, they still stayed true enough to their characters that the people that already hate Owens would have still hated him, and the people that already love Cena would have still loved him.
Right. Yeah. I have to agree with you there. And Owens, you know, with his promo, he pretty much just says, you know what, enough. Enough. The worst part of Raw consistently over the past decade has always been you know, running your mouth and saying things pretty much that you're saying now, and I'm going to put a stop to it. And, you know, he's feeling so antsy. You could tell, like, and I will say that's one thing Kevin Owens did brilliantly here on the mic. Not only did I like what he said and how he said it, but he really sold, I think, you know, that frenetic kind of energy after losing the NXT Championship.
Yeah, when you said frenetic, really, I'm assuming that means, like, frantic.
Yeah, frantic.
Yeah, like he felt, there was a sense of urgency in his voice.
Definitely. I think he almost felt naked without that NXT Championship.
Yeah, like he was exposed and he needs to get the clothing back on.
Exactly. So, you know, he is feeling so anxious to the point where he's looking to bump, you know, their U.S. title match up, you know, from Battleground to tonight in Chicago. And it's looking like it's going to go down. But then, music to my freaking ears, we get Cesaro's music.
Yeah, he comes out. He comes out and he talks straight to Kevin Owens. He says, hey, Kevin, nobody wants to see you stand out here and whine about losing the NXT Championship. And if you need to do anything, what you need to do now is step aside, because if anyone deserves to challenge for the United States Championship, it's not you, it's me. And then he talked about how last week on Raw, he had John Cena, Mr. Never Give Up over here, ready to give up and tap out. And then the reason I'm not standing here today as U.S. champion is because you were jealous that I was about to do what you can't do. You can't make John Cena give up, and I was about to do it. And then he says about how if you don't get out of this ring now, you won't just have a problem with John Cena, you'll have a problem with me. And now, Cesaro, there were 2 or 3 instances where he had kind of an awkward, like he repeated words that he didn't need to, or like he used the wrong tense or something like that, like something really simple that you could tell it's just he's not a native-born English speaker. And that's okay, because he got his point across great. And I want to call it the it factor, the charisma, the gravity, the gravitational pull, where when somebody's talking, you want to listen, was there. When Cesaro was talking, you paid attention.
Yeah, I have to agree on all counts because I was intrigued enough that he interrupted Kevin Owens, and I love the sense of continuity there. Like, we're not going to wait to address the fact that Kevin Owens cost Cesaro the United States Championship a little while back. No, we're going to squash it right here, right now. And surprisingly, like, I didn't know what was going to result. I thought maybe Kevin Owens would lay out Cesaro, and then maybe like that would lead to a thing between him and Cena. But no, Kevin Owens, he leaves. I love that about the Kevin Owens kind of heel persona. He always chooses which hill is his to die on, and he's kind of looking at the situation. He says, you know what, not today, not right now, and he walks away.
I was really
And
kind of confused by this.
Why were you like? What was the confusion? Just that he didn't beat Cesaro down, or what?
Well, no, just that like he came out with this conviction, like, yeah, I need to, replace the championship that I lost. I lost the NXT title, and now there's something not right with my life, and I need the U.S. championship to replace it. And then he just kind of backs away with no fight.
Yeah, but see, like, that's kind of the whole dichotomy, at least to me, about the Kevin Owens character. Like, the saying even goes, fight Owens, fight. But he's very strategic about his fighting.
Yeah.
This isn't a guy that's just going to get into any skirmish for the sake of our pleasure. No, he's going to be very calculating about it all because it's not about him fighting. It's about him winning in his own mind. He's never going to fight a losing battle. Never expect that from Kevin Owens. He is always going to fight you when he feels like in some way, shape, or form he has the advantage. And if he doesn't, it's only because he was forced into a corner to begin with. Like, say, his match with Joe, that was made by Regal. Owens had no control in the matter.
Right.
So, it's very circumstantial with Owens.